Hello, my name is Harris Zeiler, and this is my submission, my final submission, for the discussion board for Dr. Nice's History 713 Entrepreneurship since 1900. This selection is concerning the post-war period, and I selected the person whom I thought would represent the automotive industry in my area better than anyone else, is also the subject of my interview, and that is Richard Price. And he is the third generation of car sales of the Ray Price automotive industry sales in this area. He is also the first, his company was the first Ford dealership in Pennsylvania. And that started well into in the very early 1900s. And since then, his family has, in successive generations, his father expanded it, the company. They've also picked up other brands. He's one of, if not the first, Ford and Chevy dealership in America together under the same roof. And they've also had other brands come and go. They've moved their place of business from the local Cresco area to Mount Pocono in order to expand for size and for traffic. And through that, they were able to increase sales. Starting from a local, as a taxi service, a taxi service bringing people from the Cresco train station in the early 1900s, then building on that business, selling Fords out of the old stone garage where he had gas so he could fill up his taxi, and then taking people to the hotels, and also selling and then servicing Fords that outgrew that one old stone place, which is still there, as well as the Cresco train station, to a place that is now owned by somebody else, but you can still barely make out the original Ray Price Motors signage on the not repainted yet automotive service area. This, talking about entrepreneurship since World War II, this is another example of how business will find a way. The money will find a way to go there. I disagree with the article. I disagree with the Wendell Berry article where unless there is a certain amount of humane fairness in capitalism, that it is harsh. And I do not see it that way. And the business that I have selected for this paper did not justify that, does not bear that out. This business started very small, one business, then he started selling cars. Next generation built upon that success, expanding in brands, expanding in sales, taking on new brands. And I'll get to that in a moment. But just the sale of these mega corporations, Ford or Chevrolet or General Motors, or Chrysler, all of these companies needed the sales support of smaller businesses. So many smaller businesses of service and sales and other manufacturing of smaller things like tires and spark plugs and all these things needed to support these mega corporations. And in the long run, it made more money for everybody. And when the auto industry was going into some trouble and going bankrupt, a lot of smaller businesses were also affected adversely. So for the last 100 years, this business has been building and expanding. They've had some issues with foreign cars, even though the big problem for the domestic automakers was imports. There was actually some imports do not build what people want. And so there was Suzuki that they've carried for about 10 years, and then they pulled out of the American market because they were not making the sales of automobiles worth their bringing them all the way over from Japan to America. So they became more of a regional brand, not selling in America because of government regulations and 5 mile an hour bumpers and such, emissions, things like that. So in the long run, time's almost up. The third generation, Richard Price, now owns a business of Ford Chevy and Chrysler, which includes Jeeps and Rams, and all under one roof, all in Mount Pocono, which is about 6 miles from the town where the business originally started, where his grandfather started the little stone building back in the early 1900s. So in that case, post-war business cycle was to consolidate the business he already had, expand it to other brands, and in the long run, even though the corporations are huge, the business cycle meant that it was money to be made for even smaller businesses. Thank you.